Well, my mid-mount mower deck is off my John Deere 2025, put away and stored for the season. Made a video about just how you do that, taking the deck off, putting it back on. This will be helpful for anybody who's struggling with this or just wants to learn how to do it with one of these tractors. Alright, let me show you how easy it is to take the mid-mount mower deck off. It's snowing here mid-November in northern Michigan, and I definitely need to get this thing into storage. So here's how we do it. First thing you want to do, each of these wheels, there's 4 of them, they're on the mower deck here, has a little lever. This has got to be loosened up so this will sit all the way down at the bottom, because this deck has got to go all the way down on the ground. You can see I already did this for this one here. Come around the other side. You got one to do it here as well. That's loose. That wheel will drop. Same thing with the first one here as well. I always take the bucket off. Definitely need to have a little bit more room. I do this in my garage as well. Only take it on and off in the garage because you need a very level surface to do this on, and I can't find anything that's level enough on the outside. So the bucket comes off, gives you a little bit more room here. It also takes the weight off the front. I have heard some people say, you know, you should take the whole loader assembly off whenever you remove the mower deck. I've never done that. I don't think you need to do that. Sometimes what I read is there's a conflict in the front here with this little bar that's on supporting the front of the mower deck, and then your loader stand right here. If they should clear each other, should be no issue, should be no reason to take this loader off. In order to get the mower deck off, this knob here has got to be turned all the way around to 1 and then into this setting here. This is where you even showed a little picture of it there. That's how you drive on and off the mower. This thing's got to be all the way around to that setting. To do that, the only way you can move the mower deck is to raise this 3-point hitch with a rock shaft lever all the way back. That'll raise this thing up, and that's going to release this knob here. You flip the knob around to that front setting where you drive on, drive off. Then you want to come back here and push this thing all the way down. That's going to drop the mower deck to the ground. And then the last thing to know is use 4-wheel drive for this, because you're going to be backing off of it. These front wheels are going to need traction, so I just want to stick this thing down into 4-wheel drive, and then you will be able to just drive right off the deck. One more thing I almost forgot. When you lower it, you got to make sure these latches, there's one of these latches on each side that are like this. This thing will drop down. I'll show this once it's down. This lever's got to be flipped back over, so then that'll allow you to drive off. It's really simple just to get in there, flip that one over. You got the same thing to do on the other side. Exactly the same. This little thing here. So I'm setting the deck all the way down, coming in here, flipping these levers up, and then I'll be able to drive off of it. So those are the steps, and let me just go show you how this works. Definitely harder to get the thing back on than it is to take it off. I'll just tell you what I do. This works for me, and hopefully this will be helpful for anybody else who's might be struggling with how to get these things back on. First thing is, it's got to be a very level surface. I always do this in my garage, and it's concrete here, so it's completely level surface. I can't find a spot outside that's level enough, because everything has got to line up exactly for this thing to get to work correctly here. The other thing I'll do is I put some floor mats underneath, just basic kind of cheap rubber floor mats, because as heavy as this deck is, it's going to slide a little bit once you connect onto it. You need that kind of resistance under there. So these are just kind of cheap rubber floor mats I just stick under the sides here. You just hold it enough in place. I think it helps to grease the shaft here, because it's going to make a connection into this shaft, so I always grease this up. These little latches, again, remember we flipped them up, or you do have to flip them up in order to take the deck off. You want to make sure they're flipped all the way back here, because what's going to happen is this little bracket's going to come through here and just sort of poke in there, and then it'll lock in. So both of those things have to be in the position that's where the front of this is, right next to that little black knob there. The other thing is, this PTO shaft, you got to drop your 3-point lever all the way down, and then even when it's down, you got to just usually have to yank this thing down just maybe about, I don't know, ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, just that last little bit to get it as low as possible. That's another thing you got to make sure that you do, because this is where that shaft is going to connect up to. It's just got to be as low as possible. It just doesn't quite drop all the way when you lower your 3-point hitch. All right, has to be in 4-wheel drive. The other thing is, when I'm driving over, this front wheel is going to come right on the edge of this guy here, this little bracket. I mean, it is like as close onto this thing as you can get it without driving over the side of it. So that tire is just completely rubbing very, very close on the side of this rail here. So you got to line that up just perfectly. All right, floor mats are under there. You can see I got them on the back, on the front. Just any of these points where it's touching, the deck is directly touching onto the ground. Okay, so if you see what I did there, I made one last little tweak, and sometimes you have to do this. It's like you got to just push this deck a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch one way or the other to make sure everything lines up. These little latches here are connected in the back. You know that you got it right because once you get over it like that, if you saw what I did there, I just raised up the 3-point hitch lever, that rock shaft lever, and then that picks the deck up off the ground. So then you know you've got it connected on there, and the PTO is going to be connected in there as well. So definitely takes some practice to get these mower decks on and off. After you do it a couple times, it gets a lot easier. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys.